Okay, so I wanted to show you something called understitching, which can work with facings, but can also work with the binding. So let's pretend that this piece is your neckline, and there are two of them. So one is the neckline and one is the facing that's going to go on it. So you would normally sew this inside part like a neck. So here we go. We're just going to sew with a normal stitch, 5/8 inches. Then what you do to make a really clean turn on something like this is we're going to clip that seam, and we talked about this today. So maybe just about that far apart, you're clipping all the way to the stitching. And again, you do this whether it's a concave or a convex curve, because it will just help things lay flat, takes away the tension, and makes things just nice. So now you've got this kind of shredded looking thing. This is where the understitching comes in. You're going to open this up and you're going to lay the seam in one direction only, flat, and now you're going to stitch on top of that. I don't know if you can see that. So now all of that seam is facing this direction, and you're going to stitch on top of it right next to the stitching line. So let's see how this goes. Okay, and you're going to, as you go through, going to keep pulling this down to make sure, just with your fingers, to feel it, that it is staying flat toward the right side. Kind of tug at it to keep it taut. You can see that I'm still pulling it to the right. Pull, 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 stretch, stretch, stretch. I think I haven't tucked it all the way, but anyway, it's supposed to be all the way tucked. Now, when we look inside, we see that it has been stitched down flat like that. Now, when you go to turn it in, this inside will just sit so much more smoothly because of this understitching. Notice how it just, without even pressing it, it's just laying really flat. Now you would just go through with your iron and flatten that out. And then if you wanted to do a top stitching over it like you did over your seam binding, you've got a really smooth area. Just do partial to lay down. So there's no crinkles without you press that down. It's all nice and unbunched because of this understitching that we did with the pink line up here. So that's a really nice way to try to flatten out a curved seam.